Hello everybody, welcome to the weekly bump. Thank you guys so much for being here. So as always, we have 3 piles for the week. We're using Agate today, so we have like a teal, a violet, and a magenta. So feel free to take a moment, pause the video if you have to feel intuitively drawn or called toward a pile. Now, not everyone always feels a connection, so you can always just randomly select one. And usually there's probably going to be a message in there for you somewhere. Okay, timestamps for each of the piles will be found in the description box in the comment thread down below, so you can quickly navigate to each pile. And that's it. All right, see you guys in just a sec. Alrighty, pile number 1. You guys selected the teal agate, so let's go ahead and take a look at what comes through for you here. Okay, we have Justice, 5 of Cups reversed, 4 of Wands reversed, 4 of Swords, Queen of Wands, and 2 of Cups. 2 of Cups and the Justice on either end of the reading suggests a good like internal external indicators. Okay, so if you're getting along well with people, it's likely because you're in a state of equilibrium. I'm sensing a calm power with you guys right now, like you know that there's a lot you could do. Although I don't know that you're necessarily in an action-oriented mind state right now. I think the Queen of Wands is wanting to strategize just a little bit more. I'm seeing her at mental rest right here. She's wanting to think things through a little bit more. She's wanting some security. It's possible you might be counseling with somebody, getting advice from somebody, talking through something with someone to help you see things from kind of a new angles, okay? So I think there's something about perspectives that's coming through here. Meditation will be very beneficial. I mean, it always is, not to like obviously, but meditation will be very beneficial for you if you're feeling stuck or feeling hesitant to act. You know, this week is kind of an interesting week, okay? We know we have the sun officially in Aquarius. We have the Neptune coming into that official trine with the nodes, which has been kind of strange leading up to that. That's happening tomorrow on the 26th. And then we have the full moon building up in Leo, and then we have a Mercury retrograde happening. So it's almost as though you want a clearer indicator of what your heart is really trying to tell you. And I do see that outside counsel or advice will actually be really beneficial for you right now. Because you may be questioning a little bit of like, is this really my intuition, or is this just my fear talking, or is this my intuition, or is this, you know, something else? And for some reason I'm feeling like you're not quite sure of what's really talking to you. You're not quite sure of what's really guiding you right now. And I think you want to be sure of what your heart is really saying before you really lean into it. I'm seeing some instability with the 4 of Wands. You might be experiencing some feelings of stress. It is Aquarius season, so it is a time when we tend to detach from a lot of things, and it can make us feel a little ungrounded. That's why meditation will be really beneficial for you guys. We often feel like we're kind of getting the image of like floating up to outer space. And if we're being totally honest, that feeling might not go away entirely like just this week. There might be a few humps of that as the sun moves into Aquarius. Moves into Pisces. And then through mid-March, it connects with Neptune there. It might just be a little bit weird still. I am seeing some resistance with action though from you right now, but I think that's a good thing. You're not doing anything impulsive. You're not doing anything, you know, based on heated emotion or ego. It's all very methodical, all very strategic, all very well thought out, which I think is smart. Let's see what else comes out. Yeah, lay a solid foundation, the beaver spirit. Maybe you still just have some work that needs to be done. Maybe there are still like things you need to build or design, or you need to plan out a little bit better. This is going to be a really good week to do that. Now, as Saturn makes its way into a square with Uranus, which is officially happening on the 17th of February, in that exact square, okay? But we're going to be feeling the uneasiness of that probably for the bulk of the month. We're going to feel that Uranus impact of like, you're not as steady as you think you are. You're not as steady as you think you are. But that's good because it does get us to make the revisions that we need to make. It does get us to think about things in kind of an out of the box kind of way. And that's a beautiful thing about a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, is it is definitely going to really ramp up our creativity and get us to see things from a totally different viewpoint. Those viewpoints, those alternative viewpoints, are going to be important for your foundation to get you in this place of strength. Right now, I feel like there's a little bit of softness. So if you were to try to launch something right now, you might feel under-equipped or unprepared. So just take a breath. All right, this is not a time to be doing impulsive stuff. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, we have spiritual strength, which I like that card. We have kind of like a Buddha figure sort of holding up the ceiling of a temple. And I feel like there's a growth spurt. Can I use those words? There's a growth spurt happening quietly, but I think you know what I'm talking about. I think you can sense that. You're different now. You've changed. And now is an opportunity for you to really embrace the changes, to really show that you're not going to continually repeat certain cycles in your life, to show that, yes, you are officially healed, I guess we could say, healed from the stuff. I'm getting such calming energy from whatever this is. Like I say, it might be a friend or a lover or something, but someone that just can really, really help you not jump off a cliff. There's kind of a voice of reason that I'm getting with that card there. But it's up to you to like take that voice of reason and decide whether or not it's right for you at this time and to apply as you see fit. But I think you guys are going for some big stuff. You guys have some big aspirations or some big dreams, whether those are, financial or achievement oriented or whatever it is. So you need to make sure your foundation is very strong. Trapped in fear. Okay, that's an interesting card to get, and not necessarily one that I would have expected, because I don't sense fear here. It's a fine line between laying a strong foundation to ensure that you have a solid grounding to launch something versus continually focusing on the foundation and never feeling secure enough. I think you're towing this line here. I don't think you want to be the person that's so focused on like, okay, well, I got to make sure it's safe, got to make sure it's safe, got to make sure it's safe. And you never, ever actually do anything because you don't ever feel safe enough. I don't think that's you guys, but you are towing that line. And the thing is to not think that that's what you're doing. If you perceive that you are laying a foundation and you're spending too much time doing it, and therefore it quote unquote means that you are afraid, that's not the case this week. Okay? You're laying a foundation for a good reason. It doesn't mean you're afraid. If you're experiencing resistance, or if you're a little bit nervous or feeling a little bit of anxiety right now, that's all the Aquarian energy coming in and shaking everything up. And it's not really fear. It's just enough of shaking it up to get you to make changes, but it's not fear. I think this is an illusion. I don't think this is real. I don't think you guys are actually trapped in fear. I think you're afraid that that's where you're at, but you're not. So knowing the difference, again, between what you need to do and what you think you're doing, two totally different things. I think it's actually stronger to spend more time on laying a foundation right now. That's really the source of strength. I'm getting the 6 and the 9 as like very powerful numbers. The 8 is a good number too, but it just doesn't kind of match, right? We've got an 8, a 9, and a 6. The other one would be the 3, right? 3, 6, 9. But the 8 is kind of the oddball out. So for some reason, this card doesn't necessarily seem to worry me at all. Oh, and then we have right underneath the Justice card, a win-win outcome is forecast. So you're headed toward the direction of having a lot of success. You're headed toward the direction of everybody winning. The more time you can spend laying your foundation and ensuring that you're solid, the better for everybody right now. Everyone gets to win that way. Adjustments are required. Yes, see, that's the thing is there have been adjustments and you've been making adjustments and you've been working through your things. But I think there are still a few more, which is why you seem to be seeking counsel from someone else, counsel or partnership or advice or whatever. You seem to be reaching out to get these other perspectives. And those perspectives, I think, are going to be necessary to ensure that this foundation really can be solid. Because what happens when your friend or someone says, yeah, but did you ever think about this? And you hadn't thought about it yet? Well, then you can more properly prepare. You can then have a more well-rounded strategy, right? Queen of Wands is very strategic in her nature. In my eyes, when I look at her, she is my entrepreneur of the tarot. She's the one that not only has she's kind of like that epitome of divine masculine, divine feminine. She can be very nurturing and loving and warm, but she's also ambitious and driven and has goals and wants to explore things in the world. So she needs something to be more whole because she is so whole. Okay, so there are still going to be adjustments needed, and that's going to be because of other people's perspectives. Please do not lose your own voice, however, because of other people's perspectives. Sometimes we can lose our own opinions and lose our own thoughts because we're so concerned about other people. Please make sure you don't lose your own voice through all of this. Okay, now we have Spring Equinox Rebirth. And we love that card because, of course, we always love to rebirth. We always love to begin again. We have an opportunity to reset, to reboot, to do it better this time. And I'm sensing that that's maybe why this foundation is so important, is because now you know enough because of life experience or just because of whatever people have told you. You know enough now to know how to get things really going. You know enough now how to make the changes. Please don't shortchange yourself. You are spiritually resilient. This is a story of resilience. And you get to do it better this time. A message in a bottle. Very Mercury retrograde, unexpected messages. Things coming at you or to you from unexpected sources. That could be something like there's some kind of little treasure here with this Two of Cups, I feel. Please pay attention to what people say. Please listen. A lot of it might be irrelevant and unnecessary, but there's going to be a few little nuggets of gold in there for you as well. So please make sure you keep your ears open. People who are exceptionally opinionated right now, really judgmental or really aggressive with their opinions or what they think they know best, whatever that, all that BS, right? Those are the people that are going to be feeling very shaky, and they will not have a firm foundation. It's the quiet sort of shamanic energies, like people who pay attention to tarot and astrology, right? To step into that inner shaman of your own internal wise counsel. Listen, 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 listen. There's going to be some really, really good things that the universe is going to be delivering to you over the course of the next few weeks. Trust your path. If you knew it would be supported, what would you do? Obviously, we would all do it, right? You do have support from at least one other person, from at least one other party. There's definitely an energy of at least two people. There might be more people involved here, but, someone is your cheerleader. Someone is in your corner. There's definitely someone that wants to see you succeed. They want to see you win. They want to see you make the money. They want to see it because they know that your success is not a threat to their own success. And, I'm getting that trust your path right on top of trapped in fear. I don't know. I don't know that you guys are going to be spending too much time in fear. I just don't feel it. I think this is, it's like you're afraid that you might be doing that, but you're not doing that. So just trust. A lot of faith being required right now for us as individuals. And I think you guys have a lot of faith, which is great. Oh, and then we have the 11th house, friends. Beautiful. See, there's something so wonderful about the people that you have in your life, about the groups that you've associated with and the individuals that you can share and be truly open with. And that's a really, really, really good... We don't talk enough about friends, right? Like in tarot, like everyone always talks about love or certain partnerships or whatever, but we often forget that friends are some of the most important things in our life, most important relationships, some of the most meaningful relationships, because with friendships, we can be more authentic sometimes, We don't have to wear any kind of a mask. And that's why they're our friends, right? They just love us for who we are, and that's it. And it's great. And it works. Being with your friends, talking to your friends, there's going to be a lot of really good things that comes out of that for you, okay? It's Aquarius season, got an overload in Aquarius, so it all makes sense, okay? Friends, 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 friends. All right, you guys, I think this is going to be a cool week. You're probably going to be pretty productive. You're going to be efficient. I suspect you are going to start feeling sensations of security within yourself because you're starting to trust yourself a lot more. And that will begin to blossom in certain areas, which will be really great. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Alrighty, pile number 2. You guys selected the violet. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what comes through for you. Love that. Oh, okay. I'm seeing things changing quite suddenly. And I'm concerned about certain kinds of partnerships. I'm not necessarily going to say money. I'm not going to necessarily say romantic partnerships. I'm going to say more money kinds of partnerships. So, where you work, business partnerships, co-investors, anything like that. If you have anything like that, things could change very quickly. I'm looking at this 9 of coins here. Your self-reliance is super, super important right now. any kind of reliance or dependence that you have on someone else. I'm not going to say it's all going to go away and come crashing down, but I think it's really good to start thinking about what happens if that person, you can't rely on them anymore. Like, let's say it is a business partner, and what happens if this business partner isn't there anymore? Do you have someone to fulfill that role? Can you fulfill that role? And I'm seeing kind of this sort of loading yourself with some certain responsibilities. It's not fear-based. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of, although this was weird. This was kind of the same thing that happened in the first pile too. I think that you think there's reason to be afraid. There's not any reason to be afraid. The tower is never a bad thing. Right? We always are all worried about the tower, but it's not a bad thing, right? It's kind of a wheel of fortune in disguise is what I always say. It's a wheel of fortune in disguise, and what happens when the tower hits is our life changes for the better. But your own self-reliance here, your independence is going to be very important. It could be financial, could also be emotional independence as well, or spiritual independence. And I feel like the universe is trying to, like really direct you in a really positive way. And don't get me wrong, I love a King of Coins. I don't think this is your energy though. For some reason, I'm getting this Three of Cups. I think there's kind of some other people. And because it is Aquarius season and we have heavy Aquarius planets, especially with Venus moving into Aquarius on February 1st here, there does seem to be other people involved, friends, groups of people. But it's going to be a really, really good time to kind of be the opposite of that as we make our way toward the full moon of Leo, is how can you do things for you, and how can you be you for yourself? I kind of see this Ace of Wands as being, kind of a walking down a new path that no one has ever walked down before, independent of what other people are doing. I'm not saying you can't still have a support system, and I'm not saying that you should expect, everything to be kind of ripped away from you, but I am saying dynamics change. I'm feeling that someone in your life is kind of distracted. Or maybe a little bit overindulgent is what I'm really hearing. There's someone that's a little overindulgent. Maybe they're getting lazy or getting sloppy. Maybe they are kind of overcompensating in some way. I'm kind of almost feeling like this is you guys and you're witnessing the story of someone else. It's kind of like you're kind of this observer of someone else going toward, like, head barreling into a change that they easily could have prevented, and yet they had no desire to actually prevent. Watching someone else's house of cards come falling down, watching someone else go through something difficult. And I think on some level there might be this feeling of relief of like, I'm so glad I did not hitch my horse to that cart, right? Or that horse to that wagon. I'm so happy I did not stay connected. I'm so happy I carved my own path. I'm so happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. I think there is a calling heading, like something that's calling you to yourself, calling you to detach, calling you to separate in some way, or to find that self-security. I don't think any of you are going to be surprised by that. I really don't. I think it's kind of like an inevitability of what happens when someone kind of goes a little bit too far in one direction. The tower comes in to create, to establish that balance. That's kind of a given, okay? Let's keep the focus here on the Nine of Coins. Keep the focus on yourself, on your own abilities. Have faith in yourself, Yeah, oh, there we go. Canary spirit, sing your own song. Exactly. And even the yellow is kind of matching here. Sing your own song. Go your own direction. Please don't follow this week. That's not really the best way to be operating here. When you listen to yourself, the initial reaction might be a little bit of a fear that you're going to be missing out. Fear that you're going to lose out on some kind of opportunity that might seem to be really great. But in the long run, actually not even the long run, in the short run, it's not going to last that long. If you're investing in the stock markets right now, just make sure you do your research. Okay, I'm not here to be a financial advisor or anything, but there's a lot of money, and a lot of times I do see this as being a market correction of some kind. So just make sure that you're smart, you do your due diligence, that you are on top of your finances. Make sure you're set with all of that, okay? But please go your own path. Obstacles and challenges. Yeah, there's something like, it's almost kind of like a little bit of a threat. Like if you don't tap into your own abilities within yourself and you hitch your horse to someone else's wagon, it's going to be hard. It's kind of almost like a warning. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I don't think any of you really want to deal with that, especially when you can avoid it. And I think, yeah, you can avoid this. These are not necessarily obstacles that are worth it. I think sometimes there are obstacles and lessons that are good, and there are others that are just completely unnecessary. I'm getting a feeling that these are completely unnecessary. You don't have to complicate your life by being a little too reliant on someone else who's sort of losing control. They're losing perspective. They're getting a little too comfortable with something. Hope this isn't like a boss. Okay, let's say that. I hope this is not a boss. This is going to be a very rude awakening. Partnerships and alliances. See what I mean? There's something with partnerships. When Venus comes in to Aquarius, it's going to hit up against Saturn, going to hit up against Jupiter, it's going to hit up against a Mercury retrograde, and there's going to be revisions and revelations about those kinds of partnerships. Your commitment is being tested. Now, this card has been coming out a lot the past couple of months. I think it's important to note that I don't think this is a commitment to another person. That's not the commitment that's being tested. I think a lot of people get it twisted, right? When we commit to another person or we commit to do something, sometimes, as much as I'm not trying to tell you guys to flake out on people or to become unreliable people, but you have to do what's best for you. And if something really isn't working for you anymore, then please do whatever you can to get yourself out of that situation. All right. Your commitment to yourself, your commitment to what you know is best for you. I'm kind of actually seeing it's like the commitment to your own Ace of Wands that has been given solely to you. All right, because this guy is not even looking at the Ace of Wands, all right? He's looking in the other direction. You're looking over here at the Ace of Wands. This is yours and yours alone. It is your commitment to your path that is all that matters. Have faith in your dreams, okay? Have faith that you can accomplish your dreams. Have faith that you and you alone are going to be the deliverer of your dreams. Sometimes it's hard when we think we're going to do something with somebody only to discover that they're not as committed as we are, or they had a different idea of how it was going to go, and they're not really on our track at all. And that can be a little bit of a rude awakening for some of us. Ebb and flow. Yeah, the ocean, of course. There's always an ebb and flow in all things in life. That's nothing new. We know that. And maybe this is an ebb that separates two people or two causes. You're no longer going to support something even though it was once beneficial for you. I do think we need to prepare, okay, for in Pisces season, right? All the planets, I mean, not Jupiter and Saturn, but the sun, and then eventually Mercury, and then eventually Venus are going to hit up against Neptune. Saturn and Jupiter will do that, later on the next couple of years. But that Neptune transit can be very uncomfortable. It impacts everyone a little bit differently, but there's a dissolving quality with Neptune. And I think you're kind of seeing the beginning stages of that now. There might be a little bit of foreshadowing. A lot of these weeklies, as much as I would like to keep them all for just the week, I don't think that's really how it works, right? I mean, there's a bigger story at play here by the book. I do think you are trying to, at least do what you say you're going to do, even though maybe it's really not aligned. Some of you might be trying your best to close out certain contracts, to close out certain agreements, specifically to detach from this. It's almost like you can kind of see in the future and see that there's a train wreck. You're trying to get off the train before the train comes to a screeching halt, Do everything you can to close out those agreements, to close out those friendships, to close out those kinds of partnerships, not to abandon this person. Okay, I'm not trying to say to just, you're on your own. You can still be supportive and loving and compassionate. I just don't want to see that happening to you. Because like I say, this is completely and entirely avoidable. Entirely avoidable. It's the choice though, and I don't think they're going to choose to avoid it. Okay? Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. See, your maturity here does seem to be, it's a teaching moment. We all have learning moments. We all have teaching moments. I think you guys are the teacher this week. I think there's something calm. I'm getting this feeling like it's calm, the idea of separating here. And in many ways, perhaps it even gives you a sense of relief. Gives you a feeling of okay, I feel better at the thought. I feel better at the thought that this isn't going to, keep going. You need to follow your sense of relief. Okay, your intuition is really on point. Ooh, and a grand trine, a blessing card. Well, there you go. Ace of Wands, a grand trine. If you can embrace that Ace of Wands, even if you don't quite understand it yet, even if it feels very scary, or if that in and of itself feels like an obstacle or a challenge, that's a good obstacle, right? Going down a path that might not even exist yet, right? Going in a totally new direction, that can feel like an obstacle, but that's a good one. That's one worth doing. And if you do that, I think your path will lead you toward undiscovered talents, deepened or heightened levels of understanding of self. And I feel like there's going to be an ease and a calmness that wouldn't be if you keep going down this route. Okay? Interesting week. Choose yourself. Choose what gives you that feeling of peace, and you can't go wrong. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. You guys know I love you. I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 3, you guys selected the Magenta Agate. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay, loving the Divine Feminine coming through. Okay, so I see that you guys have really overpowered a lot of your self-sabotaging aspects. I think many of you have really learned how to embrace that part of yourself, the part that is afraid. and you have learned to really release that fear. And I think now more than ever, you really understand what it means to have faith in yourself. And I don't see you being pressured for time. I'm seeing really relaxed energy coming through with this Empress High Priestess. Even the Fool is kind of like very, devil may care, very free, just doesn't even know what day it is kind of energy. Just like, let's just enjoy our life. Let's keep our head up. Let's keep our chest open. Let's discover new things. And I love the kind of like the word buoyant is coming to my mind. There's a buoyancy, right? You're kind of like bouncing back up to the surface here. I don't know how last year affected you personally. I don't know if it pulled you down. Again, it happens differently for everybody depending on their own astrological charts and whatever house it took place in. But for those of you that went through very dark times, I sense that this is going to be a buoyant year, and it seems to be, kind of beginning right now. Starting to feel yourself come back to life a little bit, filling yourself up with positive things and positive people and people that you love. Make sure that you are listening and watching only positive content, whether it's online or with what you read. You allow or enable yourself the space to really grow in a positive direction. I think we've had enough of the shadow work lately, right? It's been a collective process. I think the past 5 years, there has been so much emphasis on the shadow, which is okay because when we do the shadow work, our light can also grow proportionately. But now I think our emphasis and our focus can be more toward our light. We've gone into the depths, we've gone into the dark crevices of our soul and our psyche, and we've really, really learned and discovered why we do what we do and what, self-sabotaging tendencies we have and what fears we have and what is still unhealed. And we've done a lot of that work. And now it's time for you to rise up after doing that work. But I think it's slow. And I think it's more driven by pleasure at this time. There's a lot with pleasure coming out in this reading, like just doing what makes you happy. It's not ever going to be about being a workaholic again. It's never going to be about, killing yourself for some kind of an achievement. This is about enjoyment. And I think you've turned a very real corner here. You've decided in your heart of hearts that you are the creator, and you genuinely get to decide how your life goes and how you experience your life. And this is coming from just such a beautiful, divine feminine place. There's a lot of this goddess energy coming out here, telling me you're significantly supported. Astrologically, energetically, spiritually, you're very supported. You can still be really productive. You can still create. You can still go make money. You can still achieve. You can still do all those things. But it's for the joy of it. Oh, the groundhog spirit, time to let go. And I think you're doing a really good job of that. And you are conscious, super, super conscious that it needs, honestly, this Neptune square with the nodes this week, was it this week? Hold on, I have it pulled up on my computer screen here. I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, tomorrow, January 26th, is like the official exact square of the Neptune nodes. And I feel like Neptune dissolves the past with the South node, and it kind of even dissolves the future a little bit with the North node, and just forces you to stay very present. He just forces you to be where you are. and to let go of expectation, to let go of karma, to let go of the negative and also the positive as well, if the positive was keeping you trapped. Some people are trapped by their own positivity. They can't really see their way out of it, right? Trapped by their own kind of delusion of things. It's a very realistic place. Realistic but optimistic at the same time, because it is driven by joy. Stand your ground. See, and I know I keep mentioning these over and over, but it's just so weird how every year a kind of a new theme emerges. In 2018 or 2019 was really all about becoming untouchable. It was about people being able to say things, but us not being as hurt by things. We become less sensitive. We become less triggered all the time. We get to work through our triggers and all of that. And once you get to that point where pretty much anyone can say anything to you and it doesn't really impact you as much, that's how you know that you have really, really kind of conquered the inner domain. And I think that's where you guys are either headed or where you already are. You've become impenetrable. From a loving place, not from a ego, stubborn, no one can't tell me what to do kind of place, but from a place of love. Yes, the accelerated motion, and we have this sort of shooting star. You're letting go, but you're strong. You are releasing, but you're standing firm. Beautiful balance, accelerated motion. Things are going to start evolving very quickly. Time is a lot different this year than it was the past couple of years, okay? Time got real hazy with Saturn through Capricorn. It got real dense there. And but you're not even in time anyway, because you're so out of time, because you're following your heart. You're producing for the sake of the love of producing, and not necessarily with all this concern of what you're going to get out of it. And when you sort of separate yourself from that, or you let go from that, that's actually when you start gaining a lot more than you ever thought you could. Communication is key. Okay, so I don't see partnerships or whatever coming through here, but it is going to be important with the Mercury retrograde to be very clear with what you're thinking and what you're feeling. All right, the tendency with so much Aquarian energy, the tendency here is to disassociate or to detach or to go distant or to hide or to separate in some way. Aquarius is weird. It's like both all about friends and groups, and it's also about detachment and isolation and, kind of exploration and all of that. So it's important for you to communicate with your groups and friends and the people with whom you belong, really what's going on with you. If they need some kind of an explanation, just give it to them, okay? Just tell them, be honest. I don't see you guys necessarily being hurtful with your honesty, but if you can be, keep that in the front of your mind to be kind, because a lot of people may misinterpret things due to the Mercury retrograde. That'll be in your best interest, okay? Communication is key. Now, a new start is coming. Yes, because you've created it. It's a new start because you're there, because you are in a new place spiritually and mentally. Of course it's coming. Of course, new things are going to start evolving. Of course, change is the only thing we can expect, right? Mountain strength. Ooh, stand your ground and strength, but also the letting go. Your strength is in your letting go. Your strength is in adaptability. The good thing that I love about this energy, I don't see you guys losing yourself at all. I don't see you getting distracted. I don't see you getting derailed. I don't see anyone having any power over you. I see you being entirely in ownership of your own thoughts. Guys, this is a huge milestone. Huge. Please express gratitude for yourself, okay, for your ability to go through all of this and to get yourself to this place, because this is really, really powerful stuff. A fork in the road. See, it's kind of interesting. We have all this kind of solid energy, but then you also have choices to make. A new start is coming. Of course, there's going to be a fork in the road. Of course, there's going to be choices being placed in front of you. You can choose whichever direction you want to go. It doesn't matter. What does your heart say? Driven by pleasure. You guys get to choose the most pleasurable thing for the sake of having the most pleasurable life. This is about joy. What brings you joy? Please do not sacrifice joy for money, okay, or anything that isn't guaranteed, okay? Deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. See, this is what I'm like looking at these feminine energies. I'm like, there's something so relaxed about all of this. There's nothing pressing or urgent or strong or anything like that. It's all very easy. And I like that for you. I think it's well deserved. I really, really do. And we have Gemini, I think. Ooh, with a new moon in Gemini, we have the mental. See, you might be thinking about things right now. You might be trying to consider things, strategizing. But there's also a creativity that comes through with Gemini too, artistic creativity. It's not just all about communication. There's a lot more with the Gemini archetype. It's courageous. It's the life force. This is really where we come alive here. And I do feel a coming alive. There seems to be a new skin that you are sort of trying on for size. And I think it's going to fit you guys really, really, really well. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what comes out of this. You guys deserve really cool stuff. And you deserve to have a really cool life. And this is you kind of watching yourself creating that. Really great stuff, guys. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you have an amazing night, or week rather, and I'll see you guys very soon with the February readings. All right, thanks so much. Take care.